Welcome to the Star Counsel live stream show. We are here again to help you as a small and solo law firm figure out how you can better deliver service to your clients. So my name is John Strohmeyer. I'm a former manager with the Four Seasons Hotel. I currently run a small law firm in Houston, Texas, but we're going to be talking about how we can help you improve your law firm service, because that's going to be one of the ways that you as a law firm can differentiate yourself in the legal market that's out there. So today we're following up on a bunch of questions we got from last week. Specifically, what is a product for a law firm and how does that fit together? We want to think about what we actually offer to clients and where we can get led astray in thinking about what we offer and why people choose us. Got several questions about, well, what about drinks? What sort of drinks should I be offering to people? Maybe I should be sending gifts to clients. That's all part of my service, isn't it? Other people have been telling people who've been asking questions, well, experience is the most important thing. We've got to focus in on the experience. And we're going to talk only briefly about client experience today, but what we want to think about is service and experience go together. They're like flip sides of the coin. Service is what the business does to deliver its technical and physical product. The experience is everything that the client receives from that business. So think about it. It's service is what the business does, and client experience is what the client sees. So more will go into service than will be seen by the experience side by the client. There's a whole different talk on how to deal with experience. We're going to kind of leave it there for today, but suffice to say, experience isn't service, service isn't experience, and service is definitely a lot more than just responding to mistakes. But today, though, we want to think about what we as law firms offer to our clients. As a basic business truism, every business sells some sort of product. It can be hotel rooms, legal services, Lego bricks, all different sort of things that you as a consumer will go to a business to purchase. But we don't want to lump every business into, well, we all sell one sort of undifferentiated product. And you already knew this. You already knew that when you go to Lego, you're not trying to get some sort of technical service. You're trying to get that Lego set from them. You're trying to get a meal from a restaurant. You're trying to get a hotel room for the night. You're trying to get taken care of at a spa. Those are all different services and different products that these businesses offer. So we want to think about, how does that work in the context of service? How does that make a difference? Well, as I've said before, kind of the underlying thesis for how I view service is every business offers a product. That product is made up of three components. There's the physical component, which is anything that your customer or client is going to be able to pick up and touch as a result of paying you. There will be a service component, which is how you're going to deliver that physical component, as well as your third and final component, the technical component. So the technical component is condensed knowledge. It's expertise. It's what you've learned how to do, but something that can't necessarily be reduced to a thing on a table. So three components again: physical component, anything you can pick up and move around as a result of paying a business. Second component of a product is your technical component. So knowledge, expertise, you know how to do. So something that's not a physical component. And finally, the service component. This is how you're delivering that technical and physical components to your customers and clients. And every business has some mix of each of those three components. Everything you pay for is has a certain mix, and it may be different mixes inside the business for different products. And it may vary across industries and even across businesses. But what we'll see as we talk about each of those components in a little bit more depth today is they are different. They all combine to be a product, and that product that's received is what the client will get as an experience. And so the reason, John, why are we spending so much time talking about what we're selling to our clients? Well, we make sure that we don't get distracted by thinking that our service components may be made up of something that might fall under the physical or technical components. Those items, all three of them are important, but we need to make sure we're focused on the right components if we're going to improve service. It doesn't mean that we're throwing away our technical components or our physical components, but it just means we know what can actually affect service and what can increase service for our clients. So we'll start with physical components. This one's very easy to see. Anytime you go to a retail store, you're paying for a physical component. When you go to the grocery store, you're primarily going there for the physical items you're going to come home with, your groceries. If you go to a restaurant, now they can increase the level of their service, but primarily you're going there to be fed. You want that physical item of the food. If you go to a hotel without increasing their service, you're going to be paying for access to the room and the sheets and everything else that goes along with that hotel, all the amenities. You're paying for access to it. So it's important to see that even if you don't own the physical component at the end of your transaction, just having access to a physical component is part of the physical component. So having a gym membership, primarily you're going in there first and foremost to have access to the equipment. You're also paying less because you don't own it, you can't take it home, and that physical component is there for you to use within the parameters of your agreement with the gym. But what it's not is, you're not necessarily paying for the know-how that the gym paid for in buying the equipment. So that gets us into our second component, and we'll talk more about that in a minute, but that's technical expertise. So businesses can provide physical components in three ways. So one, the value or the cost associated with that physical component. How much does it cost, and how much are the clients receiving in value? So if you have a unique item, you've taken out the Chicago Cubs made custom radios for some of their season ticket holders made out of the old bleachers from the stadium. Well, Rig Stadium custom radios, those are going to be very unique. It's going to be hard to replace that. That's going to have a higher value. Another thing is, how much are you sending of this thing are you sending to people? Are you sending them one gift, or are you sending them something every month? Are they continually getting value from you? Like, how much of that thing are you sending to them? Finally, just, is there any customization, any work that's being put into it that you should be considering? So having differentiated products, we got you this ballpoint pen. It's worth, it's worth very much, but we had your name inscribed on it, or it reflects a certain time that you had with us. We increase the customization so that we know we spent more time on it for you. So three ways of thinking about that pen. Well, it could be just an undifferentiated big pen, but maybe you've monogrammed something on it, or it could be a Mont Blanc pen, but you're not putting any monogram or customization on it. So the client's still getting a single pen, but the value could be affected by either customizing it more or spending more on the front end for that. So three levers to think about when dealing with customization available to our clients. Now, this all came up because years ago I went to a conference, the Lawyer Forward conference put on by Mike Whalen. And during one of the talks, one of the lawyers said, well, part of our service delivery is that if the client asks for gas or for a particular drink, well, it doesn't matter if we have it in stock or not. We run out to the store and we get it for them. And we have that ready for them every time they come back. And I sat there and kind of scratched my head. I was like, well, that's interesting, but is that really service? And it took me a while to kind of puzzle through this, because sure, you're going and getting something that her client obviously valued. Maybe she wanted Diet Dr. Pepper or lemon lime special Fresca, or orange Figo, whatever it was that client wanted. She was running out and grabbing that drink so that her client could have it. And it was hard for me to square up, because obviously you're going and doing something for the client. But the struggle I had was, even at the Four Seasons, we wouldn't have done this. If somebody had come into the bar and said, I would love to have a Pepsi, we'd be fresh out of options, because we bought our products, all of our soda products, from Coke. And so we could offer them a Coke, but we can offer them a Pepsi. And so did that mean we were delivering less service? Really, it's not the problem. The guest was still ultimately going to get something, but did the failure of the Four Seasons to run to the store and grab Pepsi for the person who maybe wanted it or made that differentiated request, was that worth our time? I'm not really sure. And, thinking through it, it was, well, this is a hotel. You would come to a restaurant, get a drink, and you'd ask for Pepsi, but ultimately you'd have a Coke or whatever, something else that might have been a reasonable approximation of it. The guest was going to get about what they wanted for, yeah, there might have been some trade-offs, but ultimately there was the hotel, primarily a physical product business, in what they were offering right then. And even then, if we wanted to say they focus more on service, well, they weren't going to that step. And that's important to think about, because this law firm's not going to be a primarily physical business. They're going to be something that we think about as a technical service business. They're primarily, law firms are not first and foremost selling physical products. They're not first and foremost selling the service component of their product. We're being brought in because we are a technical component business. Each business is going to be dominated by one of those three components, and you only get to choose one. You can be a physical component business, you can be a technical component business, or you can be a service component business. And knowing that you can only pick one leads you to certain conclusions. Now, it's possible for physical component businesses to increase the level of the service so much that people come to them because of their experience. And when we think about service businesses, what we typically think of are what, lawyers and Disney, because it's easy. Disney, go with Disneyland. They're easy to lump together. Okay, well, these are both service business. Go to the lawyer because I need a service completed, file a lawsuit, plan an estate, get me out of jail, get me a divorce. That's a service. Or you can think about Disneyland. They're going to put together the park. You're going to pay money to go and experience the park. But there's a big difference. Lawyers, when we're brought in as experts to move the needle on some problem for clients. Clients hired us for one thing. They have a problem that a lawyer can solve, and we are there to solve that problem for them. Now, of course, we can't guarantee results. We can't guarantee that somebody's going to win a lawsuit or get out of a lawsuit without any sort of repercussions. The odds might be good, but we can't plan it. Even in an estate, I can't be sure that everything's going to work for them, because there's going to be time from the time they finish signing documents until they pass on, that things could happen if they don't update their documents. Well, things could change, but I'm going to put them in the best position to make sure that they get the result they want. But what you see is, once we've solved that problem, that's it. Our services are taken care of. It doesn't matter how good of a service we provide, how good our service component was. Once we've achieved that result, and that you get to the end of the line on that result, whether it's we've got your plan in place, you've gotten that divorce, or your charges have been resolved, whether you're in jail or out of jail, it doesn't matter how good that experience was. The client's not going to come back and say, I had such a great time, please do that again. Now, of course, I can hear you saying, well, they, annual check-ins, ongoing service. Yes, we're going to put that to the side, because that's important in taking care of people. But ultimately, there are certain problems that we're hired to do that once they're taken care of, we don't need to go through that process again. Tweaking on a solved problem or a resolved issue, follow-ups, that still relates back to solving that first problem. They're not necessarily looking for a new problem. But if we contrast that with the service provided by Disney in running Disneyland, they start off, it's a physical product business, but they've increased the quality of their delivery, the people that who work there, everything that goes to their business, that even if you had a great day at Disneyland on Monday, if you've got funds available, they'd love to see you again on Tuesday to experience it all over again. And it doesn't undermine what happened on Monday if you come back to Disneyland on Tuesday. Now, if you hire me to do your estate plan on Monday and you come back on Tuesday and say, let me do it again, it's kind of hard to say, well, what's wrong with what we did yesterday? That would be what you're thinking about is, you got your divorce yesterday. Why are you back again on Tuesday looking for a second divorce? Didn't we take care of this? Something has to happen before you need that service again. So that's an important distinction between, what we as a technical product business are doing. We're hired to solve a problem. And once that problem is solved, clients don't need us to do that again. Physical product businesses and service product businesses, they can have almost inelastic demand where, I bought one Lego Millennium Falcon Ultimate Collector's Edition set on Monday. If I want to buy another one on Tuesday because I've got the money sitting around and I want to, sure, I can swipe my credit card again, get another set. And on Thursday, if I want to, it doesn't even undermine it. Like, it might be a little odd that I'm spending this much on Lego UCS set. But if I just keep stacking them up, that's fine. I have, my lack of sufficient UCS Lego Millennium Falcon sets. That's a problem that I can solve as many times as I want. But my, lack of getting a completed divorce, once I've turned the crank, the needle's been moved, and the project's done, I don't need to come back and do that again. Now, Disney, as I said a minute ago, on Disneyland, that's a physical business because you're paying initially for access to the park. But what Disney has done is, they've pulled these three levers, in terms of quality. They're pulling real hard on the quality lever, doing what they can on the amount, like the bigger they make the park, the more reason you have to come back. Customization, there are certain areas where you can get customized in the park, but for the most part, the ride isn't getting customized to you. But what they're doing is they're increasing the service quality and the service component of the park, because the more they pull on lever, you're going to switch over, and what they're trying to do is switch it from being just a physical access business to being a service business. You want to think about the experience you have there. People are going to service businesses because of the experience they're having, and they're having such a great time that the physical component still an important aspect of that business, but they're there more for the service, for the experience they have at the park. They're not, the fact that they're getting physical access is one thing, but the fact that they're having fun, they're doing it, that's what Disneyland is really offering. And so inside of that, we had three components for our physical businesses. Cost, three levers we can, the cost of the physical products we're delivering, the amount of physical product we're delivering, and then any customization. Three levers on our physical products that we can pull. When we look at service components, well, there are three levers we can pull there. First, the people that we employ. How can we make sure that we're pulling that lever and delivering a higher quality people experience? So having empathetic, friendly people who are available. Next, how are we delivering? How are our people delivering our product to our clients? Well, that's going to be delivery quality. So thinking about, first and foremost, are things clean? They better be. Cleanliness is one of those ways that you're going to silently convey to your clients that you know what you're doing. If they walk in and it looks like a bomb went off their office, or if they can see that in the back of your Zoom, look at this, I'm in front of the Alamo, as far as you know. You can't see what the rest of my office looks like. But part of that is just conveying that things look good, because when things are clean, you just assume people know what they're doing. So that's another way. Speed is another thing people love to harp on. Like, we're going to get it to you quickly, therefore that is higher service. And that's not wrong. That is a lever you can pull in increasing service. The faster we get this done, the sooner you're done, the sooner we've pulled the lever and moved the needle for you. Finally, the third lever we can work on is consistency. How often are we hitting a consistent level of service? Because if you have great service on Monday, great service on Wednesday, but you take a dip on Tuesdays, that's something to think about, of how do you make sure that we're consistently delivering day in and day out, because that's what people will associate with you. And they're going to associate that lowest level of service with what you're delivering. So again, physical service businesses, people are buying the thing. The service component business, they're buying the great experience, the time well spent with you. It's an idea that comes out of experience economy. We'll talk more about that book later in a different stream. But for today, just knowing the experience economy is a way that we can focus and really dial in what we're delivering to people. But then we're left with the third, lawyers, doctors, accountants, CPAs, engineers. Technical service businesses come in their own protected little world. They're different because the primary difference is going to be there's no amount of service that we can add to a technical component business that will overwhelm the fact that people hire us to achieve a result. Think about this. No matter how good the service is at your law firm, somebody's not going to come back and say, this was so great, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to buy a second time from you because I had such a good time when you solved the problem the first time. That'd be crazy. It wouldn't make sense to say, again, I got divorced. It was such a great experience, all things considered. Do it again because they took such great care of me. This doesn't mean people won't refer you because you had a great experience, but that's just a limitation on the services we provide. So again, 3 things to think about inside of a technical businesses. These are ways that we can pull levers to increase the technical component of what we do. So component number one, or number one inside that technical component, the basic knowledge they have about our area. So when we went to law school, this is what we were doing. We were staying hard on basic knowledge, how the law works, how to find answers, what are we doing inside of the law, and how can we affect things. This is just how the law works without knowing more. Component 2 is going to be a skill set we've developed. Once we know what the rules are, how can we affect those rules? How can we bring about a change? How can we move a needle for clients? So knowing how to draft documents, how to review existing documents, how to file a motion, how to draft a motion, things like that. Skills that we develop. Sometimes you get some of these in law school, but for the most part, this is what you're spending the first few years of your practice, learning how to. Law school taught how to think and where to go look for answers, some of the basic frameworks of the law practice, getting out there and doing things, skills to learn how to actually make changes happen and move needles for client. The third level is expertise. Once we've done things enough for clients, this is how we can actually have the foresight to know, we're going to want to think about this right now, but 2 years from now, you're going to think about this. If we file this motion for a client, knowing the anticipated responses. So the more you do, the more work you do in your firm, the easier it is, more you're actually pulling that expertise knob or lever. But again, all three areas and all three of these levers, they're a mix. Every business is going to have a mix, and it's going to be a unique mix. And it's possible for physical product businesses to pull their service delivery levers so much that they transform and they start acting more like a service business. Why? Well, people are going to those businesses for the experience. As lawyers, we're not going to get around the fact that ultimately people come to us to solve problems one way or another. We can pull hard on our service levers, we can pull hard on our physical levers, but it's not going to change what we're doing. And so that gets us back to the original story. I heard this lawyer who said, well, we're putting the strengths in front of our clients, and that's part of the service. Well, that's really a physical component. We're not going to transform our law firm based on the drinks we deliver. That's a physical product business. What it actually looks like is more of a restaurant. The restaurant, we're not in the business of delivering drinks to clients. We're in the business of solving problems. And so having drinks ready for clients, really, it's a misdirection. It's marketing. Sure. People might say, this was great. I liked that the law firm had my Diet Fresca for me. But anybody who picks their lawyer based on Diet Fresca is missing the point. If somebody said, I've got this problem, or if you said, I have a problem, do you have a lawyer who can help me? And they said, yes, go to John. He's got Diet Fresca. That's not even getting close to the answer of what they wanted. If you had gone out and said, hey, I'm getting a divorce, who should I call? Well, call John. He has Diet Fresca. Okay, but can he help me with my divorce? No, but he has Diet Fresca. And so that's why I want to say, make sure you're hearing, offering drinks, clients aren't going to come to you for the drink menu. It's not unimportant to make people feel welcome and give them a nice experience, but it's going to transform your business, and people shouldn't be coming to you for a drink menu, because then the next thing is, well, what happens when everybody has a drink menu? Are you going to elevate and say, if you have a meeting with us before 10 in the morning, we have an omelet menu for you? That doesn't make any sense. Like, nobody's going to go to a law firm because they have a great omelet menu, or if the salads at Strohmeyer Law are great, that's why we hired them. No, it's a physical product, and it's distracting from what you do. You're here to provide technical services, not physical services. Likewise, inside business, if you're spending money on high weight bond paper, clients aren't necessarily paying for that. You've incurred a cost which raises your prices. What are the clients getting from that? Are they getting a better will because it's printed on fancier paper? Not really. I mean, I've asked a few of my probate litigator friends, does it matter what kind of paper it's printed on as long as it's legible and we know what they're saying? Answer is all no, of course not. So it's not that you can't spend that money, but know what you're getting out of it. It's not increasing the service, it's increasing all the experience. But to what end? You spent that money. Did the client appreciate it? For wills, typically you'll print the wills on bond paper, but the trust agreement, the powers of attorney, HIPAA authorizations, declarations of guardian, those would all get printed on regular copy paper. Was that will that's printed on bond paper more valuable? Why didn't you print all of the documents on bond paper if they're all this important? And even the powers of attorney can be much more damaging in terms of what can happen with them during lifetime. Shouldn't we print all of them to recognize how valuable and how dangerous they are? Or can we take that down because we're spending money on something and clients aren't getting a benefit out of it? So again, what we're looking at is making sure that when we look at our products, what we're selling, it's a mix. We've got our physical component, we've got our technical component, we've got our service component. Clients are buying the full mix. You're not going to tease out the quality of your product from the physical quality of the product from the technical quality or the service quality. And so it's possible to have multiple different options and multiple different things that you're selling. A question came in, well, what about the ball pit at McDonald's? Sometimes I wouldn't go to McDonald's to, a friend had asked, well, I've got kids occasionally, we'll take our kids to McDonald's, not because we were necessarily hungry, but we knew we could get the kids distracted for half an hour at the cost of McDonald's. Well, what about that? McDonald's isn't in the business of selling ball pits, and you're right. McDonald's doesn't sell ball pits. They're selling hamburgers and yes, food products, but ultimately that ball pit is another way of getting you in, but you're not going to pay directly for it. You're paying indirectly for the access to the physical ball pit at the cost of buy a hamburger or a Happy Meal, so that the kids will play in the ball pit for 20 minutes, get tired out, and at the cost of a Happy Meal, you have a tired child. That's one way that you're distracting. It's a marketing way of getting people in, but people may want to trade that, but ultimately they're trading one physical product for the other. If I had a ball pit in my estate planning firm, sure, it's fine, but should people come to me and hire me as a lawyer because I have access to a pit or the drink menu or the omelet menu? No, of course not. That's crazy. Likewise, we can increase our service and we can deliver better product, but ultimately we're going to be delivering a technical product, and knowing that no matter what we do, that technical component isn't going to get outweighed by the physical or the service component. We can do other things to support the value that I think we're delivering. If we have high expertise, raising the quality around it, but ultimately people are going to be buying us for high weight bond paper, omelets, drink menus, or high-end service, but we're going to use those to support our value and as a way to stand out in the market. Yes, of course, we have fancy offices. Indirectly, you're going to pay for access to our fancy offices when you come to visit us. Yeah. Yes, we have wonderful people. You're going to pay indirectly for that because you're here for the technical that we're delivering, because you need a law firm to do something for you. If you didn't need that, you're not going to pay for access to our omelet menu or our fine people, no matter how fine they are. You're going to be here because you want to be taken care of while you're receiving our technical expertise. And so that's what the closing thought is going to be today is, remember, we're a technical service business. We're here to solve problems. Yes, client experience is important. So it's not wrong to think about how you can better deliver an experience and what you can do to make things easy for your clients. But ultimately, they're not coming to you for the omelet menu, the drink menu, or the people. They want to solve a problem, but you stand out in the market by how you're delivering those. Next, we'll be back to talk about a different topic of service. If you have questions, if you have a guest you think you need to talk to, head over to 5starcounsel.com. Our chatbot there has a number of things they want to talk to you about, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much.